Assalamu alaikum. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuhu. Good afternoon and good evening, or probably good morning for those who are joining us around the globe today. A very warm welcome to all our distinguished participants joining us today. This session is going to be in exclusively in English because our presenter is going to deliver this in English. So, we are very delighted to have you with us for this important and highly relevant webinar on Sharia compliance in core banking system. As we all know that Islamic financial institutions continue to grow and evolve, ensuring that banking technology remains fully aligned with Sharia principles has not become not merely a technical requirement, but rather a strategic governance and operational imperative. Today's discussion is particularly significant because Sharia compliance in Islamic finance does not reside solely in policies, contracts, or legal documentation. Rather, it must be embedded within the very architecture of the system that process transactions, maintain ledgers, execute contracts, and generate financial reporting. Whether we are discussing Muraba, Mudarba, Musharka, Ijara, or Sukuk, the true integrity of Islamic banking increasingly depends on whether our technology and infrastructure can operationalize these products in a manner that is Sharia compliant rather being Sharia labeled. Today's session, therefore, comes at a critical juncture, particularly for institutions navigating digital transformation. We are indeed privileged to have with us an accomplished practitioner and subject matter expert to guide us through this very important discussion. It is my immense pleasure to introduce our distinguished speaker for today, Dr. Mohamed Ainab. He is a distinguished professional specializing in Sharia audit, compliance, governance, Islamic financial technology, and Sharia risk management, with extensive experience in Islamic finance governance, Sharia audit and compliance framework, Islamic capital markets, regulatory compliance, Sharia governance, and risk management with Islamic financial institutions. With over a decade of practical and academic experience, Dr. Ainab has played an instrumental role in strengthening Sharia governance framework, internal audit functions, and compliance structures within Islamic financial institutions. He is also a certified Sharia advisor and auditor from AAOIFI Bahrain, reflecting his strong grounding in globally recognized Islamic finance standards. In addition to governance and compliance expertise, Dr. Ainab possesses valuable functional experience in Islamic core banking system, particularly Temenos T24 Islamic banking module. So today, Dr. Ainab will share insights on architecture of Islamic core banking system, traditional versus Sharia native banking system, Sharia compliance requirements, and practical implementation realities and governance implications. Without further ado, may I now invite Dr. Mohamed Ainab to kindly begin his presentation. Sir, please.
Yeah. Thank you, Mrs. Sida, for your warm welcoming. Am I audible?
Yes, sir. You're very much audible.
Yeah.
Kindly turn on your video.
Yes, of course. Yeah. You can see me now?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, and you see the
You just
screen.
need to, yes. If
Yeah,
you wish, you can share the screen with us.
yeah, I am sharing the screen. You can see my presentation.
Thank you.
Can you see the presentation?
Yes, sir. We can.
Yeah, yeah. So as you mentioned it today, we are going to talk about the Sharia compliance and the co-banking system, or Sharia compliance in co-banking system. As you have mentioned it in your introduction, Sharia is a comprehensive. Sharia is a comprehensive shamil for everything in our lives. It's not only prayers, Psalm, Aqidah, and everything about your life should be compliant with Sharia. And when it comes to banking sector, Sharia is not only for contracting business and activities taking place within Islamic banks. Also, the technology that runs the bank or the institution should also be Sharia compliant. So today we are going to talk about Sharia compliance and co-banking systems in several areas, and in architecture areas like architecture, vendor landscape, and how Sharia requirements implementation enforces the efficiency of proper Sharia compliant activities within the Islamic banking institution. So first of all, we want to define as an introduction what's a bank. As we all know, I think most of you or all of you are from banking sector. A bank is a regulatory financial institution that intermediates between savers and borrowers. In Islamic financial institutions, we say those who are seeking financing. Because as you know, there is a difference between conventional banks and Islamic banks when it comes to financing or how they finance the customers. Also, the banks accept deposits, they extend financing and operating. Also, they operate the payment rails that move money. So the banks are where the clients deposit their money, get access to financing, and also get access to a number of services. Now, coming to co-banking system, we also need to define what is a co-banking system. Co-banking system is the engine where customer accounts, transactions, balances, ledgers, and product rules are processed in real time every minute of every day. So core banking for the banks is like the brain and the heart for the human being. It's where the transactions are processed, the data is saved, balances are updated. The typical modules for core banking systems are, you find customer and account management module, deposit and current accounts module, financing and credit module, general ledger modules, payment and clearing modules, trade finance and treasury, reporting and regular returns, channels, and API integrations. These are the modules that you can get within core banking systems. When we are talking about the history of core banking systems, we have 4 generations of core banking. From 1960 to 1985, the early stages of core banking adoption, where a single application was processing everything. That's why we said monolithic. Then from 1985 to 2005, moved to package suites. So here we are talking about, product centric. There is no real-time updates. Instead of there are no batches. For example, if the customer deposits today, the balance, the amount will appear in balances, for example, at night. Then from 2005 to 2020, modular platforms. Yeah, there is no single application running everything. But we have, a number of modules, for example, modules for accountants, modules for financing, modules for payments. You have a number of pieces, and every piece is specific for is special for a specific task. Then to 2020 to now, cloud native ecosystem, based on internet. We have also, we need to talk about traditional and new generation platforms. Of traditional platforms, platforms like Temenos, Transact, Oracle, Finastra, and then we have new generation, as I mentioned it, which is cloud-based generation is 10x, Thought Machine, Mambu. So now, what is Islamic co-banking system? I think you are familiar with the idea of conventional banking and Islamic banking, conventional capital markets, Islamic capital markets, conventional insurance, Islamic insurance, which is Takaful. So, as I said in the beginning of my speech, Sharia extends this to everything when it comes to banking. It's not only contracts or financing or investment. A lot of people, they think that when we're talking about Sharia in banking, it's all about, reviewing financing contracts or investment appraisals. Not only that, the Sharia auditor or the Sharia controller within the bank should review everything from core banking to investing to financing to deposit to marketing to product development to every unit within the bank should be subject to Sharia review, Sharia approval. So just like we talk about Islamic banks and conventional banks, Islamic capital markets and conventional capital markets, Islamic insurance and Islamic conventional insurance and Islamic insurance, which is Takaful. We also talk about Islamic co-banking systems. And Islamic co-banking system is a platform is engineering. Think about this word a lot, engineering. At the level of data model, product logic, and accounting to operate exclusively under the principles of Sharia law. So that's the Islamic co-banking system. Platform is engineered at the level of data model, how the system stores data. Because as we will talk about later on, the system sometimes the system is built on conventional engine, but the interface you may see it's Islamic. You find that the narrative is like murabaha, musharaka, istisna, salam, but at the engine level, the system is conventional. That's why when we come to some co-banking systems like Temenos or FlexCube, the engineers, technicians try to configure some narratives or do some parameterization, but the system behavior cannot be changed ever. You can simply find an interest narrative within the bank statements for the client because the logic is not pure, the logic is not native. So when we're talking about Islamic banking systems or platforms, it should be, changed from the engine, which is, like data model, how the system stores the information. The system should store the information in a Sharia compliant manner. Also, the product logic. It's not like, a loan with interest. For example, we're talking about murabaha, there should be an asset packing. For example, the bank goes and purchases an asset, takes the possession or the ownership, then sells to the client with a profit. The system should think within this frame, not like just the frame of a loan with interest. And also accounting. It's not like, a loan with interest. It should be, like financing, purchase, sale agreement, or trade with profit. So for the Islamic Bank, we have contracts in the asset side, like murabaha, ijara, musharaka, mudaraba, salam, istisna. Also, we have also contracts in the liability side, like we have current accounts, we have investment accounts. Musharaka might be a financing, and also it might be an investment account. Musharaka investment account, mudaraba investment account. All those will appear in your liability side. So the system should support all these Islamic financing modules. We have Islamic banking platform providers like ITS, technical system. The co-banking system is Ethicals. We have Azentio and Felmi. These are the 100% co-banking system providers, where the system is built on an Islamic architecture from the beginning. Not, configuration or parameterization or changing the layers, while the engine and the logic is, behaving conventionally. So now coming to, we have some co-banking systems in between. And as I said, so here we have two approaches, approach A and approach B. Approach A, a co-banking system built from scratch on Sharia compliant architecture. Sharia contract layers, you will find inside Sharia contract layers, the accounting aligned with Islamic accounting principles, UFI, FAS, UFI financial and accounting standards. You will find, the logic of asset package that model. Because in Islamic Bank, one of the unique aspects of Islamic banking is that the Islamic banking system is not based on borrowing money and getting that money back with interest. There should be an asset in between. There should be a real economic activity. If you go to an Islamic bank and apply for a loan, they don't give you a loan. Instead, buy an asset for you. For example, like murabaha, the customer requests for a specific asset. The bank, based on that request from the client, purchases that asset and sells back to the client with profit. So one of the differences between Islamic banking system and conventional system is, the Islamic banking system is asset package. So within the Islamic co-banking system architecture, there should be an asset package data model. The way the system is going to store the data should be based on asset package. Okay, so native asset packing and BLS logic also there's profit, and one of the main principles of Islamic banking is, profit and loss distribution, profit and loss sharing, profit and loss sharing for partnership investment contracts like musharaka, mudaraba. So the system should have that behavior, profit and loss sharing logic. Also, there should be an non-bypassable Sharia workflow stage. For example, like for murabaha, should the application stage should be before the possession stage. Possession stage should be before the sale stage. First of all, the client applies for murabaha financing. The bank reviews the client application, approves it. Then the bank purchases the asset. And after that, the bank sells the purchased asset to the client on a cost plus profit. So the system should be based on this logic, these three stages, where you cannot do a stage for example, you cannot bypass stage 1 and stage 2 and go directly to stage 3. The system should stop you from that. Just like, compliance or legal requirements. Also, Islamic reporting, the reporting Sharia correct by default. Lower long-term audit. Also, the system should be for auditing later on. For example, when the Sharia software auditor comes, there should be a logic within the system or audit trails. Conventional then also we have conventional co-banking system is extended with Islamic modules. As I said, the engine is conventional, but it's extended with Islamic modules. That's to say Islamic module overlay. It's interest-based GL, reuse it. But the conventional, the engine is conventional. And that's the most important aspect. It's the engine is interest-based, but through parameterization and configuration, we have Sharia. We might have Sharia compliant user interface. We can say that it is Sharia compliant at the screen, conventional at the engine backside. And also, when the bank wants to do some parameterization and configuration, it needs a heavier customization and configuration later on. A good example for that is Temenos T24, Temenos Transact. It's a conventional co-banking system, or we can say the initial purpose, this software was developed initially for conventional banks. But later on, as they got Islamic Sharia compliant banks clients, they did some, they initiated, for example, Islamic banking module. We have Islamic banking module within Temenos Transact. But as long as the engine is not Sharia compliant, you may have within Islamic banking modules some interest narratives. For example, in Murabaha, the system may generate, still generating. The client may simplify loan with interest in the statements. But when you go to the Islamic banking module, you get all the Islamic contracts, Murabaha, Istisna, Salam, Fawad, Ijara. But the thinking of the system is still conventional. A lot of terminologies and interest terminologies, interest narratives is within extended across all the modules. So Temenos it's a module functional. One of its strengths is that it has module functional coverage, large ecosystem, proving in dual window, a lot of partners for Temenos T24, a lot of experts in Temenos T24, widely used, globally used. This is something positive, but when it comes to Sharia compliance, it's not 100% a Sharia compliant co-banking system, as the underlying engine is conventional. And also, as I said, the Sharia compliance requirement is we have the co-banking system must be blocked. This must be blocked at the engine. For example, riba, interest, no fixed interest on debt or deposits. As I said, for example, the T24 co-banking system, the bank may not charge any interest on the customer deposits in current accounts, but you find in some interest narratives. So the interest is not blocked at the engine. That's why you easily find interest narrative is in customer. If you, for example, print a statement for a client current account holder, he sometimes find this interest narrative is within the statement. Although the bank is not conventional, it's 100% Islamic. Also, gharar, uncertainty, no excessive contract ambiguities, also no speculative or zero trades. So these are the haram aspects within Islamic banking system. Islamic banking prohibits interest, prohibits gharar, prohibits maisel. So these things must be blocked at the engine, not the screen, as the case of Temenos T24 core banking system. And also these principles, the system, when the system is processing the transaction is and also the financing, the logic for financing modules should be based on these aspects. Asset packing, which is financing, should be tied to a real asset or activity, as I have mentioned earlier. Also, the profit and loss sharing. The financing modules should be based on these logics: profit and loss sharing, asset packing. For Murabaha, for example, these are the non-bypassable stages. Customer request, the customer specifies the asset to be purchased, the bank acquires the asset, ownership and risk passed to the bank, sale to the customer, the cost plus disclosed markup, an installment schedule, and also customer interest statement, and no interest wording in any field of customer statement or payment schedule in financing, for example, in Murabaha, and also in current accounts, both of them. So the compliance should live in the data model, which is how the system stores the data. Also, Sharia compliance should live in the workflow, not only in the user interface. When it comes to reporting, Sharia compliant financial reporting, the system should generate Sharia compliant financial reporting aligned with AYUFI, Accounting and Auditing Organization for Islamic Financial Institutions, FAS. The chart of accounting is disclosure flow. All of this should be aligned with AYUFI financial and accounting standards, not based on IFRS, specifically financial instruments IFRS 9. Also, real-time reporting on demand exposure, profit bullies, and contract status, not end-of-month batch. Sharia narratives, and this is the most important aspect that the T24 core banking system never forgets. No matter how much you do configuration, parameterization, but you find the system is still generating conventional narratives, interest narratives. And also, there should be an audit trail. The core banking system should be auditable. Every Sharia relevant event leaves an immutable, traceable record. So reporting is where really Sharia integrity becomes visible. If the statements, financial statements or financial reporting within the core banking system aren't right, also the system is not 100% Sharia compliant. So choose the system, choose the implementer. For example, if the bank is new and applying for a system, you should do a due diligence research. You have to choose the system, contract-centric data model or interest-centric with overlays. You should choose contract-centric data model based on Sharia principles from the scratch. Aligned also with AYUFI, and also you should the Sharia board should be involved in the early stage system acquisition. Also, you have to choose the right implementer. Those the company which is implementing the core banking system. Consultants who know fiqh al-muamalat, not only technicians, because you know the implementer should have technical knowledge plus Islamic banking knowledge. Also, they should know, for example, the contracts. What's murabaha? What's musharaka? What's ijara? What is sukuk? How this Sharia contract is, how these are implemented. Because at the end of the day, we are changing this the contracts into into a system logic, into a code. These are the recommendation is research before selecting. You have to benchmark vendors on a Sharia native architecture, IUF evidence, and real reference, not a marketing decks. Also, the aspect of training, the team should be trained functionally. We call it functional training. Operations departments, operations, accounting, and compliance staff must understand both the Sharia contracts and the system. So monitoring and configuring new products, regulatory updates, and Sharia rulings flow through a controlled change pipeline, never ad hoc patches. Also, there should be a periodic Sharia software audit. Treat the engine, it is solved as auditable subject matter, workflows, journalists, narratives, and reports on a defined cycle. So Sharia compliance is not a feature flag, it is the architecture of the bank. So now we are closing to the end of the session. I hope it is fruitful. Over to you, Madam.
Thank you very much, sir, for such an insightful, practical, and really thought provoking session. Your discussion has provided a really valuable clarity on how Sharia compliance must not be embedded not only at the product level, but within the very architecture, workflows, reporting mechanism, and the governance fabric of core banking system. So, what practical insights that I have, and in fact, we have gained from this webinar is that you have discussed Sharia native versus conventional core system, the role of AAOI in aligned architecture, the practical realities of implementation, and the importance of selecting not only the right system, but equally the right implementation partner. So, moving forward, I have few questions from you regarding adoption of this Islamic banking system. Dr. Ainab, despite the increasing maturity of Islamic finance globally, we still observe that many Islamic financial institutions continue to adopt conventional core banking system with Islamic overlays rather than Sharia native platforms. So, in your view, what are the key reasons behind this trend? Is this driven by cost, legacy infrastructure constraints, implementation risk, ecosystem maturity, or in other simple words, is it regarding the market was comfortable with the established vendors? Over to you, sir.
Yeah, thank you very much. I think one of the main reasons is this core banking system is built a good reputation for the last 3-4 decades. And the Islamic banks, as like the other conventional banks at the beginning, they went to that direction. For example, when we are talking about, as I mentioned in the presentation, like Temenos Transact or T24, we are not talking about only the ecosystem. For example, this core banking system is that I have mentioned, which are 100% Islamic. You will not find partners for this core banking systems. For example, if there are maintenance issues, you will not find that. And number two is the aspect of cost. It's a very there is a cost for building the core system Islamically from the scratch. So I think these are the main two reasons for why the banks prefer to do configuration and parameterization for the conventional banks, conventional co-banking systems, and also the aspect of marketing, because these co-banking system providers, they market themselves. And they say that they also have banking modules within their core banking systems. For those who are seeking modules which are 100% compliant with Sharia, while the reality is not that. So thank you.
Thank you very much. Another toward this discussion of yours, that there is a difference in reality and what we have been taught. So things happen like this, but there is one particular follow-up question that is regarding economics and the implementation feasibility. My question is quite simple: is building or migrating towards a Shiv architecture materially more expensive than adopting a conventional core banking system with Islamic module? So, what I believe is that there is a trade off between short term implementation costs versus long term Sharia integrity, operational efficiency, audit burden. So, what is your take on it, sir?
Again, can you say it again, please?
Do I repeat my question, sir?
Yes, yes.
Okay. Continuing your continuing this discussion, my question is regarding the cost and the business case.
Yes,
the question is building or migrating towards a Sharia native architecture, is it more expensive than adopting a conventional core banking system with Islamic modules? What I mean to say is that an in-house built Sharia native or an adopted or bought hands-on system is like, which one is preferable from a strategic perspective? Because we know that there is a trade-off between short-term implementation costs versus the long-term Sharia integrity. So what's your take on it?
Yeah. So as you said, building the system not only in-house. As I said, there are Islamic banking or banking system or platform providers, and I have mentioned it, some of them in my presentation. Of course, building from scratch on an Islamic building an Islamic banking system from scratch is more expensive, of course, and I think that I have said it in my last answer. And also the issue of awareness. As I said, and these conventional co-banking systems, they market themselves. For example, for the bank I work, we are running on Temenos T24. And when we were negotiating with the Temenos team, they said that they have 100% Sharia compliant Islamic financing module within T24 co-banking system. But in reality, we found that, yes, we have in the interface Islamic banking modules, but the system logic is 100% based on conventional system, because we found a lot of narratives across modules. As I say, for example, in bank statement, bank statements published for clients, we have found some interest narratives, because this may be, for example, a reputational risk, because we serve a Muslim community, and then when they find such narratives in the statements, bank statements, they may that may represent the bank or may damage the reputation of the bank. So it's a matter of awareness, where the management of some banks they do not do research. They do not hire professional experts experienced in both co-banking systems or technology and Sharia. They just do meetings with these co-banking system providers, and they believe, as our case.
Thank you, sir. Can you hear me, sir? Am I audible?
Yeah. Yes.
Okay. So another question that is regarding capacity building and all this thing. One more interesting word, particularly, in fact, a very interesting point that you have highlighted was about the importance of choosing implementers who can understand fiqh muamalat and not merely technology. So, how significant is the talent shortage in this specialized space today?
I think it's not necessary that we have someone who is experienced in Sharia and in co-banking systems, and I think that's a very rare. There is we have some such experts, but it's very rare. But you can hire a team, for example, a team of 3. One of them is a sheikh who is specialized in Islamic banking, fiqh al-muamalat, in Sharia, and then we have one who is experienced in co-banking system, technology, and yeah, I think it's better to hire a team because most of the implementers, they are not individuals, they are companies, consulting companies. So when we are negotiating with them or at the agreement level, we should talk to them about the importance of having scholars, Sharia scholars or Islamic banking scholars within the team.
Agreed. So, Dr. Ainab, I have got few personal and on your practical inclination, on your personal journey and practical inclination questions. So, my first question is, Dr. Ainab, before we go deeper into what we have discussed, could you please briefly share what inspired you to specialize in this unique intersection of Sharia governance, risk management, and banking technology? As you have both Sharia scholarship and technology implementation, so you have a rich ground in it. So, what inspired you? What is your source of inspiration in this regard? Was it
I think
intentional, or did the practical challenges within Islamic banking has helped you to shape this specialization? Please.
Yeah. I think it was not intentional. My expertise in Islamic banking and Sharia and fiqh al-muamalat, but it was a working knowledge for me because at my bank, when the management or the team invested in the co-banking system T24, and as the head of Sharia and product development at my bank, I have to be involved in all stages from research to life to post implementation, and also because that I should be there, and from that the interest starts from that. After that, I undergone a number of functional training in T24 core banking system, specifically Islamic banking module. And at the beginning, it was not my interest. It was just a working knowledge for me. But later on, I got the subject is interesting really, and this is a gap, and I have to fill that gap. And my knowledge is mainly at the functional side. How the system works. It's not mainly the technical side. It's like you can say functional side. Thank you very much.
Sir, just a career advice for all our listeners. For those professionals who are aspiring to work in Islamic banking technology and Sharia governance, what skills should they start building today to remain relevant over the next decade, including the impact evolution of AI, keeping that in mind?
Yeah. I think the technology, co-banking system, AI, blockchain, smart contract, all these are working knowledge for all those who want to work for Islamic banking, for Islamic banks. Not only Islamic banks, for Takaful companies, microfinance companies, capital markets. It's a working knowledge because they cannot, for example, if you cannot audit a co-banking system from a Sharia perspective, if you are not familiar with co-banking system modules, how the system works, all of these things you cannot, I can simply say you cannot do your job. Just like the Sharia board member or the Sharia board, the Sharia auditor should be also familiar with accounting principles, should be familiar with, so all these things are working knowledge for those who want to work for Islamic banks. Because you cannot evaluate, you cannot review, you cannot audit what you do not know. And it's not necessary that you are expert in how these modules are classified. Modules